Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show after all this time. It is incredible that we are still here. I mean, after 2000, 2012, all the Mayans were wrong, supposedly, and the recession didn't get us, which was strange, because North Korea has not attacked yet, very important. It threatens mostly the US. So in Europe we are safe. Mostly we are good on good terms with North Korea. Hungary is becoming a bit more North Korea. The government is trying to do stupid stuff. That would be true in any country of the world, of course. But of course, because I live here, I tend to think that Hungary is more stupider than most countries, which in some ways it's true. Think about that. This is the country that wanted to tax specifically the internet, but anyways, so I'm here again, and I want to talk about my biggest problem in life, which is not food, because I don't live in Africa, like in some parts of Africa that people starve, which is great, because they get to be heavy. I don't, I have stuff to do around, so I'm not bored, which is great. Often people in the United States or in richer countries, they get bored, which is equally bad as starving, apparently, according to the internet that I read. Because, although it's curious, because often people who are bored and accuse each other on the internet or do crazy stuff, we know about them. We know about the Kardashians, we know about Honey Boo Boo. And it's horrific, of course. Although, I keep thinking about one thing, though, that starving children, these, millions of starving children in Africa, somehow, they don't make their voice heard, because they don't have internet. That would be an interesting thing, at least, because to me, tests are all that matters in the world. We should test everything. I do testing for a living. For Christ's sake, I do teaching for a living, which is like trying to explain you something and then test you on that. Oh, God, I love that. But it would be interesting in my little world to give, for a month, free internet to all, these starving children in Africa. And then just, give them Tumblr, give them 4chan, give them all these great sites, introduce these to them. And then see what happens. Because, on one hand, somebody would write that, wow, I'm so bored because I didn't get my Ferrari last year, and my parents promised me, and I only have an iPhone 6 instead of a 7, or I actually don't know how iPhones are numbered. I don't have one, so excuse me for my inaccuracy. Probably it will destroy my argument, though, according to the internet again, because one tiny inaccuracy in any film or in any opinion destroys it all, apparently. But bear with me for a moment. So, on one hand we have this, and on the other hand we have I don't eat in general, which is, considered, maybe not worse, but a really big problem. Anyways, what is my point? What does this have to do with teaching Hungarian, of course, you might ask. So my biggest problem, again, going back to my original thing, before I digressed, my biggest problem is that I don't want to make a video if I don't have something to talk about. And of course I don't want people to watch my stupid videos, even though most of the videos I make are kind of stupid. So, today, I don't have much to say. But I wanted to make something because this is the third season, and I laid out a structure of things that I wanted to do, but then I thought about it and it wasn't that great, so you know. And this is not really an episode of Learn Hungarian. I can't really tell you great things about the grammar. All I want to talk about is how to make sense of this madness. Because apparently, if you learn Hungarian, you do things that come natural to me. Not solely because I'm the genius of our generation, beside Kanye West, but because I already learned the language and I think about stuff like this. Is the problem with native teachers, by the way. I mean, I might look good in the eyes of my students, but the problem is that there are things that I don't really know how, why it's hard. Think about, like, when you create a sentence in Hungarian, when I create a sentence in Hungarian, it's pretty easy for me, because the general rule, as I talked about it before in previous videos, if you paid attention or didn't get bored, well, previous videos, what I did was try to explain that when I speak by mind most of the time, because I'm a naive, honest idiot. So basically, whatever comes to my mind, I just say it. Which means that if I talk about my car, for instance, but more importantly, I think back and then it happened on Friday in the garage with my grandmother, which is a strange sentence on its own, but I will tell you these parts of the sentence, and then I give you perhaps an action. And in English, this is quite different. In English, when I was learning English, I had to force myself to think in a sequence. So first I have to come up with somebody, and then I have to come up with the action. And then maybe there is an object in a sentence, like I'm baking a cake, and then I can't start with the cake, obviously. Obviously to you, of course. Not so obviously to me, because in Hungarian, if I wanted to, I would start with the cake. So, what does all this mean? Well, if you think about the implications of what I have just told, it's quite easy to conclude that basically there are no rules in Hungarian, well, I mean basic rules for basic speakers, of the order of how you should say things. So how can a language have a structure like that, you might ask? Well, the structure itself is the attachments. And sooner or later, you will realize that this language is all about the attachments in it. So, how can you do that? Like you might ask. Well, first of all, you have to learn the attachments. How can you learn the attachments? Well, the problem is that it's a slow process. So I have given you lots of attachments already. And you can find attachments in any grammar book about Hungarian. You can even use the book I use. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. But the philosophy of all this is that you take a new attachment that you've learned, and there are specific words that you can attach it to, and then you add that to your grammar knowledge. And that is grammar knowledge, actually. The attachments. Of course, there is more to it than that. It's a complex language. I can't cover everything. So, much like I told you before, if you keep thinking that one tiny mistake in my argument destroys the argument itself, then, this video is pointless. But, should you accept the fact, a tiny bit, that you just try to learn the attachments then, and you'll be fine. You'll be better and better by the year. Because this is not a language that you can learn in a couple of months. Not even basic stuff. And that is the hard part. I mean, you can learn stuff like köszönöm, kérem, hogy vagy, jól vagyok, etc., etc. You might know these already. But it's quite complicated to express yourself, because you will run into things that you don't know. And Hungarian is not the language that you can simplify stuff on. That is the problem. I mean, you can say things like, I like dogs. And then in English you have a pattern for life, for liking things. And in Hungarian you might run into some exceptions. So it requires a lot of patience. But then again, my overall problem is that I'm a native. So what I have just told you, if you ask me the question that, hey Chris, what's up dude? And all the pleasantries, and then you make me face the question, so have you done all this when you were a kid? And I'm no. Do you know all the attachments? Well, yeah, in a way, yeah, but like, can I conjugate stuff on a whim? For instance, like, if you ask me the question like, hey dude, can you conjugate I don't know, like the word for jumping, ugrál, like right now. Oh Jesus, let me think about it. Oh my God. So ugrálok, ugrálsz, ugrál, ugrálunk, ugráltok, ugrálnak. That's about it, I think. And just just imagine how long it took me. But the problem is that there is an inherently different way to learn a language as a second language and to learn a language as your first language. So, to me, Hungarian comes easy. I had many, many years to, learn it. And the truth is that you will spend way less years, by the way, fewer years, sorry, learning it, because it took me 10 years or something to properly speak in all the different aspects like politics and all that. But for you it will take less than 10 years, that's for sure. But still, because you have to take a different route. So that is an inherent, it is a problem, a deterministic problem. When you learn with the native teacher and you learn with somebody who who learned Hungarian as a second language, and that's the same for English as well. Like when I teach English, it's easier for me because I know all the little things that they are what are hard for a non-native to learn. But when I teach Hungarian, that's different. So, anyways, I'm trying, at least. And today was about, that you have to learn the attachments. And it didn't take you, literally, miles ahead of your fellow mates. But I think it is important to talk about these things, because the truth is that you're learning the language. This is a long-term commitment. And imagine you're doing a long-term project. You're doing work, for instance. You're not doing work all the time at work. You do preparations. You do alternative things, like eating, for instance. So at some point we have to talk about these things. And the more you're into Hungarian, the less exact stuff I can teach you. Because once you familiarized yourself with the goal that you have to take, like I can draw 20 million attachments on that board, but it will not take you closer to the thing. You have to actually make yourself, create a system for yourself, and I can assist you with that system through the videos, or if we talk, you know, on Skype or something. But the truth is that I have given you plenty in the first 2 seasons, and now you just have to digest those things that you have to practice. So, yeah. Right. I guess that's it. And then hopefully we'll continue with some other stuff. But this is okay in my world for a second episode. I can't promise you. Well, okay. If you're looking at this video in a sequence and it's already like 10 years from now, probably you will, you know, watch the video like 2 seconds after this ended. But for those who are, you know, waiting for it in real time, I'm terribly sorry for all the wait. I know how it goes, and I hope that this video was somewhat okay to, you know, to make you endure until I come up with something better. And there is always the hope that I come up with something better. But can I? Or will I? I don't know, really. So until then, just enjoy life, and thank you for watching. I still don't know why you watch me, but thank you very much, and enjoy stuff. Well, I guess that's it.